Here's a long version of a lost and found story. Lost and Found, a journey of hope. It was one of those days when the world seemed to move in slow motion. The sun was setting behind a horizon draped in shades of pink and orange, casting a warm glow over the busy streets of the city. The hustle and bustle of people going about their daily lives filled the air. But amidst all that, Sarah felt like she was moving in a fog. She had just left the cafe where she'd spent the last few hours working on her project. Her mind was full of ideas, deadlines, and unfinished tasks. In her hurry to leave, she didn't notice the small leather wallet slipping from her bag as she threw it over her shoulder. The wallet was old, but meaningful. It was a gift from her grandfather, passed down after he had passed away. Inside were not only her cards and cash, but also a tiny picture of her and her grandfather from when she was a child. As Sarah walked through the streets toward the subway, she felt a slight unease, but she couldn't place why. It wasn't until she reached the entrance of the station that she stopped to reach for her wallet, only to realize it wasn't there. Panic hit her like a wave. She frantically searched through her bag, hoping it was just buried under papers or her notebook. But it wasn't. She checked her pockets. Nothing. Her mind began to race. Where did I drop it? How long has it been missing? She retraced her steps, rushing back to the cafe. Her heart pounded in her chest as she hurried past the same people and shops she'd passed earlier. By the time she reached the cafe, the streetlights had started flickering on, casting long shadows across the sidewalk. She walked in, her face flushed with worry, and approached the barista. "Did anyone turn in a wallet?" she asked, almost breathless. The barista shook her head. "Sorry, I haven't seen anything." Sarah's heart sank. She walked back outside, standing at the cafe's entrance, trying to calm herself. She replayed her route in her head, over and over, hoping she could remember where she might have dropped it. Every passing minute felt heavier, each one pulling her further into despair. She spent the next 2 hours walking up and down the streets, asking people if they had seen anything, stopping at every shop she had walked by, but no one had seen her wallet. She finally accepted that it was gone. She could replace her cards and cash, but the picture of her and her grandfather, that was irreplaceable. Disheartened, Sarah made her way home. She called the bank to cancel her cards, notified the authorities, and sat down at her kitchen table, feeling utterly defeated. How could she lose something so important? The memory of her grandfather's smile and that photo flashed in her mind, bringing a tear to her eye. The next day, Sarah tried to move on. She had things to do, work to catch up on, but she couldn't stop thinking about her lost wallet. She found herself constantly checking her phone, hoping for a message, an email, anything. And then, just as she was about to give up hope, her phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number popped up on the screen. "Hi, I found a wallet yesterday near the cafe on 5th Street. I believe it's yours." Sarah's heart leapt. Could it be? She quickly responded, asking for more details, and sure enough, it was her wallet. The person who found it, a man named David, had picked it up off the sidewalk shortly after Sarah had dropped it. He had been too busy to return it right away, but now that he had a chance, he wanted to meet and return it to her. They arranged to meet at a nearby park later that afternoon. When Sarah arrived, she saw David waiting for her, holding her small, weathered wallet. Her heart was filled with gratitude as she approached him. "I can't thank you enough," she said as he handed the wallet back to her. She quickly opened it, checking to see if the photo of her grandfather was still inside. To her relief, it was. "I'm just glad I could help," David said with a kind smile. "I've lost things before too, and it always feels terrible. When I found it, I knew I had to get it back to you." Sarah smiled, overwhelmed by the kindness of a stranger. "This wallet means more to me than just money. It was my grandfather's. The photo inside is the only one I have of us together." David nodded, understanding the significance. "I'm really glad it found its way back to you." As they parted ways, Sarah walked away feeling lighter, as though a burden had been lifted from her shoulders. The wallet had been lost, but it had also brought something unexpected, a reminder of the goodness in people, and how, even in the chaos of life, things could still be found. That night, Sarah sat at her desk, the wallet safely by her side, and she realized that not everything lost was gone forever. Sometimes things and people find their way back to you when you need them the most. Would you like any changes or additions to this story?